that okay? For my whole life, I always thought that this city is a monumental testament to the power of the American spirit and the American dream. When New York started as a small, rugged Dutch trading post near the tip of Manhattan in 1624, what you see around you is nothing more than wilderness and marsh. But by the muscle and backbone and genius of the people of New York, we built the city into the towering forest of iron, aluminum, concrete, and steel. We made this city and state into the capital of global commerce. We turned our hometown into the bustling center of a confident, glamorous American culture, and we inspired the entire world. We inspired the world. No matter where you went on this planet, everyone knew that when you said, "I'm a New Yorker," it meant you had smarts, you had grit, you had energy, and above all else, you had heart. You had heart. Big, big, beautiful heart. Everybody wanted to be here. New York was where you came to make it big. You want to make it big, you had to be in New York. But sadly, this is now a city in decline. Throughout my life, I've seen New York through good times and bad, through boom times and crime waves, through market crashes and terrorist attacks, but I've never seen it quite like this. We have filthy encampments of drugged out homeless people living in our places that we've spent so much time with children where they used to play. We have lunatics killing innocent bystanders by pushing them onto the railroad tracks for sport. It's a sad thing. Don't worry, it gets positive. Don't worry. It gets so positive. Remember, we're going to win. We're all winners. We're going to win so big, we're going to make it bigger and better than ever before. Remember that. So don't worry. By the time the other 6,000 or 7,000 people get in, it'll be very positive. Our subways are squalid and unsafe. The ceiling tiles are falling down, and they look worse than a third world country. The medians of our highways are crumbling. Our sidewalks are littered with garbage, bottles, and trash. But worst of all, the discarded needles from people that so desperately are in need of help. And we have mobs of migrants fighting our police officers and giving America the middle finger. But we are not going to let this continue. We are not going to abandon our hope and our pride. This city has given us so much, and now it is time that we are going to give it back. Together, we are going to make New York City great again, and simultaneously, we are going to make America great. This is some turnout. And I want to thank New York's finest. They just brought a lot of additions. We have people, thousands of people outside that can't even get in, but they'll get in eventually. We appreciate it. New York's finest. Hello, New York City, and hello to all of the incredible, tough, strong, hard-working American patriots right here in the Bronx. Who would think? Who would think? I'm thrilled to be back in the city I grew up in, the city I spent my life in, the city I helped build, and the city that we all love, New York City. And I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly. We're going to bring safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to bring businesses and big taxpayers back to New York. Gotta bring them back. Gotta bring them back. And we're going to make New York bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever before. And that includes right here in the Bronx. And it's going to be done and funded starting on January 20th, directly from our great and beautiful White House. Is that okay? For my whole life, I always thought that this city is a monumental testament to the power of the American spirit and the American dream. When New York started as a small, rugged Dutch trading post near the tip of Manhattan in 1624, what you see around you is nothing more than wilderness and marsh. But by the muscle and backbone and genius of the people of New York, we built the city into the towering forest of iron, aluminum, concrete, and steel. We made this city and state into the capital of global commerce. We turned our hometown into the bustling center of a confident, glamorous American culture, and we inspired the entire world. We inspired the world. No matter where you went on this planet, everyone knew that when you said, "I'm a New Yorker," it meant you had smarts, you had grit, you had energy, and above all else, you had heart. You had heart. Big, big, beautiful heart. Everybody wanted to be here. New York was where you came to make it big. You want to make it big, you had to be in New York. But sadly, this is now a city in decline. Throughout my life, I've seen New York through good times and bad, through boom times and crime waves, through market crashes and terrorist attacks, but I've never seen it quite like this. We have filthy encampments of drugged out homeless people living in our places that we've spent so much time with children where they used to play. We have lunatics killing innocent bystanders by pushing them onto the railroad tracks for sport. Our it's a sad thing. Don't worry, it gets positive. Don't worry, it gets so positive. Remember, we're going to win. We're all winners. We're going to win so big, we're going to make it bigger and better than ever before. Remember that. So don't worry. By the time the other 6,000 or 7,000 people get in, it'll be very positive. Our subways are squalid and unsafe. The ceiling tiles are falling down, and they look worse than a third world country. The medians of our highways are crumbling. Our sidewalks are littered with garbage, bottles, and trash. But worst of all, the discarded needles from people that so desperately are in need of help. And we have mobs of migrants fighting our police officers and giving America the middle finger. But we are not going to let this continue. We are not going to abandon our hope and our pride. This city has given us so much, and now it is time that we are going to give it back. Together, we are going to make New York City great again, and simultaneously, we are going to make America great again. Thank you. I have come tonight to talk about solving problems. The simple fact is Joe Biden is not getting the job done for the Bronx. He's not getting the job done for New York, and he's not getting the job done for America. He is incompetent, ladies and gentlemen. He is grossly incompetent. I will get the job done as I did for 4 years, and I will get it done fast. And remember this, if a New Yorker can't save this country, no one can. No one can. Get me the snake, please. The snake. Thank you, everybody. What a crowd. This is something. You know, we wanted to keep it small because who knew? This is like a love fest. Love fest. It's a love fest. We love you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Wow. Who said we're not going to win New York? We're going to win New York so. You know, if we win New York, we win the whole thing. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? We'll take back our country. And we'll do a job like nobody's ever done before. And what we did for 4 years was incredible, but we also learned a lot. We're going to get in there very fast with the right people, great people, people that are tested and true. Years ago, there was an ice skating rink, the Wallman Rink in the middle of Central Park. You know that story? That had been under construction for more than 10 years. They couldn't get it open. It was a renovation. They couldn't get it done. Mayor Koch was at his wits' ends. They just couldn't get it finished. They couldn't get it built. They couldn't get it open. People wanted to skate before their children turned old. Almost $20 million was spent over a long period of time. It was an embarrassment to the city. Every day they'd be laying the copper pipe, and every night that same pipe would be stolen. And then they'd start all over again the next day, and it would be stolen. This went on weeks and weeks and months and months. They poured the concrete in small patches in wrong directions and at different heights. And they took their advice from a refrigerator company from Miami, where it's 95 degrees out. It was a total mess. They just didn't know what they were doing. And I saw this, and I wanted my children to be able to ice skate before. They didn't care about ice skating. I looked down on the rink, and I said, what is going on? Years and years. So I volunteered, and I took over the project and did a good job. And when I took it over, I said that if it cost more than $2 million, I would pay for it, the entire amount, but it cost far less. The first thing I did was call the Montreal Canadiens hockey team in Canada, right? Isn't that better than a refrigerator company from Miami? They didn't know what we were talking about. But the Montreal Canadiens knew, and they were really nice. I'll never forget how nice they were. And they told me that you don't want to use copper tubing and gas because the gas is very delicate and it leaks. It's very fragile. It just doesn't work. You want to use rubber hose. I said, I like that. That's a lot cheaper. Water and salt. The salt makes it so the water doesn't freeze. It's called brine. And you're going to put that under the concrete. You're going to pour the concrete over the top. It's going to be great. It's going to work. Not going to leak. It's cheaper, faster, and it works all the time. And when we opened, there were no leaks. There were no problems whatsoever. Anyway, I started the project, laid the rubber hose, mixed the water and the salt beautifully together. I was down there when they were doing it. I said, you got to do it right. And covered the entire rink with concrete in 4, literally, you had to see the scene. Concrete trucks operated by the Teamsters. Do we have any Teamsters here? Oh, you got to make sure that O'Brien, he's a good man. He endorses Trump. I think he's going to, actually. But the Teamsters, it stretched all the way. You had trucks stretching all the way from the Wallman Rink, which was, let's say, at 60th Street, all the way back to Harlem. One contiguous pour. It was a day and a half of pouring concrete. One contiguous, a giant surface. As you know, the rink was completed in just 3 months for far less than the $2 million projected. The biggest expense was actually the demolition. That is the demolishing of everything that was built so incorrectly, so badly over a 10-year period. The biggest cost was demolition, taking it all down and starting all over. We opened with a ceremony with all Olympic gold medal winners, including the great Peggy Fleming, Dorothy Hamill, Scott Hamilton, and all of the others. Every one of them was there. It was a beautiful night, beautiful weather. I'll never forget the evening. It was one of the most beautiful. My parents were there. Now they're looking down on us. They say, wow, that's my son. Can you imagine? That's my son. Can you imagine? He's being tried in a court with a crooked judge. Can you believe this? highly conflicted, Judge, at that. But everybody was there, and it was really something to behold. It was an incredible experience, and one of the great experiences of my life in New York. We opened it. It's been successful, and successful ever since. What a great, great experience. It was beautiful. And, you know, a lot of it's common sense. You'd like to say the Republican Party is the party of common sense. You don't go to Miami when you want to make ice. You go to Canada when you want to make ice, right? Or you can go right down the road in the Bronx to Ferry Point, right? Everybody know about Ferry Point. It was another disaster, a development where the city had spent over 29 years, almost $300 million trying to develop it into a luxury golf resort, anything. They'll take anything. They were spending money. You know, trucks were going here, dumping, getting filled up, moving it here, dumping, getting filled up with the same stuff. This went on for years, back and forth, the same stuff. They were feather bedding. They were doing lots of bad things. But really, they didn't know how to get it done. They had no idea how much money they were spending. And when asked how much they spent, they said, we just don't know. This has been going on for years, decades. They were unable to do it. And at the time, the mayor, Michael Bloomberg, said, no, it's all right. It's okay. Now, Michael Bloomberg was the mayor, and he called me. He said, I have to get this done before I finish my term. It was very important to him. He was embarrassed by it. Everybody was embarrassed. It was Mayor Koch. It went through a lot of different mayors. Almost 30 years, remember that. And he said, in all fairness, he said, I want to get this done, and you're the one that can do it. You're the only one that can do it. And I said, and I will do it. I will get it done. And we got it done before he finished his term, which was great. But there were no other bidders to my knowledge, and I took over the project, spending only my money to build it. And I called all of the contractors together. These were tough people. These were tough, hard people. Many of you are probably contractors on that site. Come to that. And I said, look, fellas, you guys have made a fortune on this thing for years and years against the city. It's time we get together and build it. Let's get it built. Let's do it right. And let's get the hell out of here. We owe it to the city. And they worked so hard. The roughest, toughest contractors in New York. They had spirit like you've never seen before. And it was magnificently designed by the great Jack Nicklaus, who told me, I don't want to make any more money. They paid me enough. Everybody get paid a fortune. Jack said, I don't want money. I just want to see it get built for the people of New York. And that's what we did. But everybody, just like Jack, they said very similar things. These guys were rough and tough, and they made a lot of money, but you'd think they'd want to make more, but they didn't. They just wanted to get it built. And in just a little more than a year, so this was going on for 30 years, including, think of it, just a magnificent thing to watch. You had to watch these people working, just the opposite of what took place for the first 29 years. But we had a magnificent world-class golf course that many of you have played now, and it's rated as one of the best public courses in the country. And then a short while later, we built a beautiful clubhouse, one of the prettiest I've seen, built it, completed. The project was absolutely beautiful. It opened to great fanfare and great, great success. And do you want to hear the end result, though? Should I? Should I go off teleprompter and tell you the end result? You think Biden goes off teleprompter? I don't think so. He's no good on teleprompter. No, but okay, so I did this beautiful job. And then we had a dispute over January 6th. We had a dispute. And they said, January 6th, we want to terminate his agreement with the city, had a long-term agreement with the city. And they sent me a notice of termination. I said, wait a minute. I just spent $25 million building it, built this magnificent clubhouse. It's in full operation. It took you 29 years. You were spending hundreds of millions of dollars. You couldn't get it done. And the neighborhood came to court totally for me. The Bronx neighborhood. It's in the Bronx. It's on the East River in the Bronx. And we went to court. The city sued to break my agreement that they had just made. And I had done such a great job for them. And it was accolades everywhere. Golf Magazine, all of the big magazines were saying, what a great job. They terminated my agreement, and I went to court. And I will tell you, I had a very good experience. We had a Supreme Court justice named